UCF loses another big player on defense headed into Saturday. The hits just keep coming for the Knights.
You are Locked On UCF, your daily podcast on the UCF Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome on in to Locked On UCF, your daily UCF podcast. I'm your host, Mike G. Turn us on, turn us up, we'll turn it out. I'm here with my good friend, Andrew Gluchov, senior writer at UCFKnightZone.com to talk a little UCF football here on a Friday morning. Andrew, on today's show, we're going to talk about a guy who I was hoping might play, but we got confirmation today that he is not going to play. And then we're going to talk about QB and then make some predictions here headed into Saturday. It's the end of the week, so it's prediction time. Let's start at the top. We did an injury report episode, so I'm going to pull this graphic back here just to remind everybody what we talked about on Wednesday night here. Cam Fancher out, Caden Peeney out, Stacey Gage out. We know Stacey had surgery. Carter Miller out. That really hurts, losing your center there. Keegan Smith out. But doubtful was Braden Marshall. We went back and forth, again, kind of pulling some sources there to see if Braden could go. He can't go. So he is out. You move him from doubtful to out. No Braden Marshall. And TJ Bullard not looking too great for this one either. This game was already hard for UCF. Andrew, I had a hard time maintaining any modicum of positivity headed into Saturday because it felt like with the list of guys who were out or questionable, whatever little hope I had for UCF to compete in this game kind of went out the door. Our listeners are almost in a place where they're like, hey, look, man, if a guy is borderline, rest them and don't get even more hurt in this one trying to win a game that's unwinnable with the state of your roster in terms of injuries. What do you think, man, here with Braden Marshall now absolutely being out? Should UCF just, I don't want to say tank it because that's no coach is going to do that. But you understand what I'm saying? Should you take a roster approach that protects you for the next two games rather than, go about this in a way like playing this just straight up?
Well, I mean, you got to play it a little bit conservatively. I mean, here's truth.
You think so? Okay.
Yeah. Marshall's out. TJ Bullard's out. He's not going to play either. Losing him on special teams, that hurts because he was a valuable special teamer.
Yes, he was.
The truth is, you look at the list of players that are out, and there's a number of contributors. Cam Fancher. Obviously we talked about Bullard. We talked about Marshall. You got a couple of linemen now. Carter Miller, who's had a bit of a rough go this year, especially when it comes to penalties, and then Keegan Smith's also out. So you've got a number of players that are out. Now, here's the real question: is what's the real status of your questionable players? Nigel Kelly, Myles Montgomery, Jay McDonald, Malachi Lawrence, who all looked like they got really hurt during last week's game against Houston. They're all currently listed as questionable as of the Thursday update for the game. When you're questionable, obviously that's that kind of 50-50 ball that, what we don't know is are they on the good side of 50 or on the bad side of 50? And if you're on the bad side of 50, you got to err on the side of caution. And you still have 2 games left this season. Regardless of what happens Saturday, this season is not over. They still have a chance for a postseason, albeit they need perfection. The margin of error will be completely gone, but it's still a possibility, especially when your next game against Oklahoma State is meant to be a gimme for them. So then you got BYU in Provo to end the season, which, they're a great team, but look what Texas Tech did to them. In Lubbock, they controlled that game. So I think you do have to err on the side of caution. You have to have a degree of pragmatism here. and look at the big picture as far as the rest of the season, players want to play. That's what they're going to do. So it is the coach's job to decide, is it worth the risk? Are they really in good enough shape to help my team get better? Or am I just, feeding their ego by sending them out there?
Yeah, I like the way you termed that. Look, players want to play. They definitely want to play. They want to compete. And you know, again, if a player is borderline, he's going to want to put himself in the game most of the time. I mean, all the guys that I know and that I've covered that are true competitors want to go if they're 60%. Some of them at 50%. They want to be out there with their guys. And, it's been a tough season for UCF so far. Just losing some games that I felt like they could have won, but, really couldn't pull out. At the end of the day, you're rebuilding a program if you're Scott Frost. And that means getting out of year one as in as good a shape as possible, but also doing what's in the best interest of the athletes, even when maybe they themselves wouldn't do what's in their own best interest, if you know what I'm saying, right? So sometimes you have to sit, and this is going to show us a different side of I don't want to say coaching acumen, but about how this staff manages difficult situations. This is a difficult situation for you. Nobody expects you to win this game, and you may be playing a freshman quarterback at some point during this game. There's a lot going on here. But speaking of quarterback, UCF has to play one. Now, missing from that injury report was a certain quarterback. We'll talk about what direction UCF should go at quarterback next on Locked On UCF. This episode of Locked On UCF is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, guys. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than with our friends at FanDuel. Even if you missed the start of the game, you want to ride the hot hand. FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. You can even combine all your bets into a same-game parlay for a chance at an even bigger payout. This is my favorite thing to do. It should be yours too. I've had some pretty epic parlays in my day. FanDuel makes it all possible. Even if you missed the start of the game, guys, don't worry. You can get in on the action at halftime. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just head on over to FanDuel.com, download the app to get started today. They're the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Let's talk QB here for a second. You and I got a chance after the game to talk about Davi Belfort, but I wanted to make sure that you got the platform to talk about this kid and what he potentially brings to this room. Now, I don't know that I've seen where Scott Frost has announced a starter for Saturday. Has he announced a starter? Is Tayven going to play?
I haven't seen it. Maybe Taven Jackson. Taven Jackson is not on the injured list. I mean,
right.
he was. So he had a hammy issue.
He was dinged up. Yeah,
he was a little dinged up, but nothing that would dictate him being not playing.
Well, let me ask you this: did Belfort play well enough for this to even be a discussion this week in your mind?
I don't think so. He came in, Houston players flat out said, we had no game film on him. We had no prep on him.
Yeah.
So part of that is the rookie pitcher comes in. Kerry Wood comes out, has his MLB debut, and that season he strikes out 20 guys. Nobody knew what he was going to do. Same thing with Dylan Risk's first start, Space Game last year. Had a great game. And then people started getting film on him, and his production dwindled each and every game. And that's because coaches figured out how to beat him. I think while having Belfort in as a change of pace is not a bad thing, I I don't see him as a starter yet. He looked very uncomfortable in passing situations last week. You had that deer in headlights look. Like I was standing on the field at that point watching him, and he kind of just like froze at times where he just didn't look comfortable. When he was running the ball, he felt he looked much more at ease. I don't think putting him in Lubbock in the toughest game you're going to have all year is the way to go. And I remember we talked about this the other day. It was during a live show. One of the live comments was talking about McKenzie Milton. And I was at that game against the would-be 6-7 Maryland Terrapins. That game was also at home against, this is versus a team in the top 10 of the CFP who is vying for a first round bye at their home. This is not the same situation by any stretch of the imagination.
Fair enough.
This is not the game you put Davi Belfort in as your starting quarterback, unless you are forced to. If Taven Jackson can play, you play him. You need that experience in this situation, especially because other positions are beat up. So you kind of need now. Belfort needs to be ready to go because there's a possibility Jackson can get beat up. He's still obviously not 100%, but to put him out there as a starter, that's not a good idea.
Now I know he's been dinged up, but do we skip over Jakari Brown in this discussion in terms of who's up next if Taven Jackson is the starter and things aren't going well?
Yeah, well, even though Brown's not on the report, I mean, he's still dealing with lingering issues. I mean, he was the emergency third quarterback last week. And, he and Belfort are kind of interchangeable in their skill sets, which is why I think they put Belfort first because he's got long-term upside that Brown does not have. Brown is what you see is what you get at this point. I don't think there's really any room for him to truly improve as a quarterback. But Belfort has a lot of room to grow. He's still, I believe, a redshirt freshman, still has a lot of time and can be developed. You can develop that. But again, this is not the place to throw him out there.
Yeah.
Do it against Oklahoma State, but not at Texas Tech.
Yeah, it's going to be an uphill battle for UCF here on Saturday as they take on the Red Raiders, who are firmly in the college football playoff hunt here, Andrew. So they've got aspirations of making that college football playoff to represent the Big 12. UCF has aspirations of messing that up for them. I'm not sure they got enough tools in the tool shed for this one to get that done. As you look forward here, obviously there were UCF fans all over social media like tagging Kane Archer and things and saying, "We need you, buddy. Come on." Is this a game maybe that Scott Frost can use for recruiting purposes in any way? Can he, if you play Belfort and he goes out and he plays well, great. But I don't know, man. Like with some of the incoming young guys, right? I don't know. Like you don't want Kane Archer thinking he's gonna have to compete with Belfort coming in, right? Like
I don't think Archer cares. I don't think Dante Carr cares. I don't think any of these guys who are looking to come to UCF care what Davi Belfort does, because the truth is, iron shapes iron, and they're coming to compete. They're not looking for a gimme. So, if Belfort looks good, okay. If Belfort looks terrible, okay. A lot can change from this year to next year. A player has an offseason to get stronger and develop. You've said it many, many, many times. The offseason is really where it's at. The amount of work that goes in to build a player up to just come out and play, these few games. What do you say? 1,000 hours for
40 hours of football.
40 hours.
Yep.
There you go. So I don't think this game is going to play any role in recruiting, to be honest. Last week did, and I think it actually worked out really well, even though the result did not go the way they wanted. That's okay. One, the team didn't quit. So, that helps the coaching staff show, hey, we're rallying this team. They're not giving up. the injuries speak for themselves. We got a lot of guys beat up, and we just never quit. The atmosphere, the game last Friday was the best atmosphere UCF's had all season. I mean, it was rowdy. The fans were there early. I mean, usually I always tell people you can't judge what the turnout's going to be till the end of the first quarter because there's always fans coming in late. That was not the case Friday. Fans they were ready to go, and they were loud. The students were there, and even though it was a Friday night, and so obviously that changes some things as far as who can stay. Game started at 8:00. It already started late, so the game didn't end till after 11. A lot of fans left. Anyone with families, I don't blame them, but a good amount of people stayed and stayed to the end, and I think that helped with recruiting too. I definitely view Friday as a major recruiting win as far as, doing the right things. At the end of the day, the wins and losses don't really matter. The fight in the team matters because that shows that the coaching staff has them going in the right direction. Them coming up short actually can be used as a selling point. Player can be like, if I was in that game, I could have won that. Yeah. And now you've kind of lit a little bit of fire like, well, okay, well, come join us and be that guy next time.
Yeah, I think that's an effective recruiting message here. Like, look, if we have you, that play works. If we have you, you make that throw. If we have you, you make that catch. And obviously pointing to the game, the throw at the end of the game, last week where they dialed it up and it was there. And if the throw was made on time, perhaps UCF walks away with a stunning victory here. But look, could there be a stunning victory on Saturday? Spoiler alert, probably not. But we're going to make predictions anyway next on Locked On UCF. This episode of Locked On UCF is brought to you by our friends at Supply House, guys. Supply House is there for you when the opening whistle blows. Get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today, see parts on your doorstep tomorrow with over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from across the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. Need parts fast for a project? Supply House has next-day delivery. Talk about a game changer. A part finder tool and 3D schematics can save you hours on jobs where every detail matters. Join the free Trade Master program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and dedicated support lines. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use promo code SHCollege5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. Time to make predictions. I think UCF's going to have a hard time scoring in this one. And that's kind of
going to have a hard time with a lot of things.
Yeah. It's kind of been a story of the season. It's been a pretty good defense, really good at times, with an very inconsistent offense that showed some promise against bad teams, but has been unable to put together a average performance versus a better than average team. Would you agree with that statement? Like, I'm trying to word this carefully, but I have not seen a good performance versus a better than average team from UCF's offense.
I mean, the best thing you got was Houston on Friday. That was the best game, and they put up 20 points because obviously, that one touchdown was a defensive touchdown. So I think that was their best overall game against. Now they did score more against Kansas State, but I think the best overall game they played against a team with a pulse is Houston. And don't come at me with Jacksonville State. I'm sorry. Conference USA in the Warren Nolan ELO is the 9th ranked conference, and they're the second best team in that as far as the ELO rating. So no, don't give me Jacksonville State.
Well, the game on Saturday against Houston hurt their averages a lot. Only 282 yards of offense for UCF there. That drops them down to 8th in the conference in yards per game. In terms of points per game, UCF now, again, like I said, the average is starting to fall a little bit here. The sixth worst team in the conference at 27.2 points per game. It's been about offense here. And if you're Scott Frost, you've got you're building, but you've got a solid message to offensive guys that there will be an opportunity for them to come in and make an impact immediately. This offense just needs to create opportunities. And I think that's what we saw at the end of the Houston game, right? Like they dialed up a play, they created an opportunity. And if the players execute, then you maybe win the game. And that's after not doing much offensively almost the entire game. So if you can show that, I think that that could be a positive thing that comes from this game. Here is that dial something up that creates an opportunity, and then go back to the tape and show everybody where the opportunities existed, and then go out and recruit players who can execute in those moments. Here, I'm going to make my prediction. I think this is a tough day on Saturday. I'm going to call this one Texas Tech 38, UCF 10.
That's pretty close to what I was thinking. I was going to say 35-10, but 38-10 makes a lot of sense too. UCF is a 23.5 point underdog. I think Texas Tech's going to cover. They've got the benefit of the home field advantage, and Lubbock is a tough place to play, even with an average Texas Tech squad. To me, a win is avoiding injuries. That's the win.
The spread is moved to 24.5.
Yeah, it's moved. I know it's been kind of sliding a little bit, especially with, players being ruled out is going to slide it again even more. But that's how UCF wins this game. Is it's not going to be on the scoreboard, and it's not a moral victory. It's just avoiding these major injuries. So, look at what happened to Houston and all the players that went down. If they can avoid the injury bug and start those last two games about as close to a full deck as they possibly can, that's the best scenario. Let me phrase that. That's the best realistic scenario. I mean, anything can happen. Any team can win any game on any given day. Strange things happen, and the better team does not always win. Do I think UCF's going to win this game? Absolutely not. But they're playing the game. Things can happen. Appalachian State had beat Michigan. Why can't UCF beat Texas Tech?
Yeah. Look, Andrew, whenever we predict a UCF loss, I absolutely hope that you and I and everybody else who predicted it are coming back after to eat crow. That is the type
absolutely. I'd love to be wrong here.
Yeah. This is the type of crow that I don't mind eating when we have to predict the loss here. But certainly we've got to live in reality about what UCF's chances actually are. Can Scott Frost dial up some magic here versus Texas Tech? We'll see on Saturday. They get that game kicked off, I think, at 3 p.m. Eastern.
On Fox.
3:30 Eastern on Fox. So tune in. We will be live after the game, as we always are. Myself, James Duncan, and Andrew Gluchov, senior writer at UCFKnightZone.com, to talk about everything that we saw. And we'll be back here tomorrow on Locked On UCF.